Okay, here we're going to review just a couple of examples of human conditions that are caused by what would be considered chromosomal rearrangements. So we're not talking about an individual gene with a mutation that, for example, something like that causes cystic fibrosis or sickle cell. It's like one gene that has a pinpoint error in it. That is not what these examples are. These are examples of large-scale alterations in the chromosome structure. And usually this happens due to errors in meiosis, when things are crossing over and they're trading chunks and the trading chunks get all messed up. Things don't trade pieces evenly or don't join back like they should. Then you have things like inversions, deletions, translocations, that kind of stuff. So here are some examples of human conditions caused by those kinds of mistakes. So the first thing we're going to look at are translocations. And if you remember, translocations are when chromosomes tangle up that shouldn't be tangled up and trade chunks when they shouldn't. So normally during meiosis, chromosome 1 will pair up with the other chromosome 1, and ones will tangle and ones will trade pieces with other ones, and then 2s will pair up and 3s will pair up, and all the chromosomes will find their pairs and they'll trade with each other. But in that situation, chromosome 7 should only trade with another chromosome 7. Chromosome 19 should only trade with another 19. Sometimes the arms, the chromatids, get tangled incorrectly and you get a chunk of one chromosome stuck on another one. And so that's what we're looking at here. So first of all, the first example of a translocation is a type of Down syndrome. So there's actually two different sort of ways that Down syndrome can occur. We're going to look at the other one in a later video, but for now we're going to look at the translocation way. So Down syndrome is always due to something, an extra part of chromosome 21. It's all about chromosome 21. All right, now you could get a whole extra chromosome 21, and that's called trisomy, and that's what we'll look at in a later video. But you can also accidentally get an extra chunk of chromosome 21, not a whole 21, but an extra chunk of it stuck onto another chromosome. And usually it happens to stick on chromosome 14. So this picture here is a karyotype. I think we've seen those before. A karyotype is basically like a photograph, an image of all the chromosomes that you'd find in an individual cell. So take one cell from an individual, squish it out on a microscope slide, stain it so you can see the chromosomes and then count them. And if you're very good at this, or use a computer nowadays to scan the image, but you can see all the chromosomes, you can find their pairs. So here's a person that has 2 chromosome 1s, 2 chromosome 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, like you'd normally expect, all the way up. Here we go, 2 11s, 2 12s, 2 13s. When we get to chromosome 14, they don't look like they match. Chromosome 14 is supposed to be like this big, all right? But this chromosome 14 on the right has an extra piece stuck to it. And if we keep going on, there's 2 15s, 2 16s, 17s, 18s, 19s, 20s. There's 2 21s, just like there should be, 2 22s, and an X and a Y. So this is a male, a karyotype from a male. But if we look at the total number of 21s, there's one here, there's one here, and there's an extra piece of 21 up here. And this extra piece of 21 is enough. I mean, it's quite a lot, really. It's like a whole chunk of an extra chromosome. So think about how many thousands of genes might be on there, added into this person's genotype and into their genome. And this is going to cause the phenotype that you're familiar with Down syndrome. So this is Down's, caused by an extra chunk of 21, and it tends to always stick on chromosome 14 for some reason. Down's by translocation. Here's another translocation disease. This is a CML, which is a short for chronic myelogenous leukemia. So this is the cancer of white blood cells. So basically, cancer is when any cell type grows too much, just keeps dividing without control. And so tumors can be solid, like a lump that you would sort of, the standard thing you kind of associate with cancer. But also if your blood is a liquid tissue, and if your blood cells get out of control and divide too much, that can just as equally be a cancer. And that's what leukemia is. It's white blood cells dividing out of control. There's lots of types of leukemia, but this is one specific type that is caused by a translocation that we see here between chromosomes 9 and 22. What seems to happen, for some reason, is these chromosomes get tangled together when they shouldn't be, and a piece of 22 gets transferred to 9, and a piece of 9 gets transferred to 22. And this makes 9 longer than it should be, and 22 shorter than it should be. And so what happens in this situation? So leukemia is a sort of a pretty hard disease to diagnose to start with. Usually what happens is people get sick. They sort of have this is usually in children. So they would start feeling ill. They would sort of have general lethargy, failure to thrive is kind of what the medical profession would sort of call it. And the doctor would initially look for, kind of common things like, the flu or simple diagnoses or usual common things. And then if, they exhaust that, then they start looking for more complicated explanations. They might look at a blood smear. And if they saw in the blood sample too many white blood cells, there could be lots of reasons for that, but they might suspect some form of leukemia. And so they might order a karyotype. And once again, here's the karyotype, looking at all the chromosomes. And what you see here is a classic CML karyotype with a short 22 and an extra long 9. And so this short 22 is actually termed the Philadelphia chromosome, because this was first, can't spell Philadelphia, this was first described, like what was happening here was first described by the famous Children's Hospital in Philadelphia by people working there. And so this short chromosome 22 is diagnostic of CML. And so this is another disease caused by a translocation. I should remind you that these translocations occur when not within the child, they occur within the egg or the sperm that then is the one that got together to make the child. So these translocations happened when the mom made the egg or when the father made the sperm, and when those egg and sperm get together in fertilization, that zygote has that abnormal 9 and that abnormal 22 chromosome, and then as that single cell divides to build the baby, every single cell in that individual is copied from that first zygotic cell with the incorrect 9 and 22. So it's in every cell of that person's body. That's why these are sort of hard they can't really be cured because, or you can't really remove all those chromosomes or all the issues. You have to deal with it different ways. So that's CML, which is another translocation disease. The last condition here to do with chromosomal rearrangements is an example of a deletion. So cri du chat, this is French, and it means cry of the cat. And this is a condition where part of chromosome 5 is missing. This is what this means. 5 is the chromosome number, and P minus means that part of the proximal arm of that chromosome is gone. So basically what happened was when chromosomes were crossing over during the production of egg or sperm, when 5 crossed over with another 5, it broke and it didn't reattach properly. And so a bit was missing. And that egg or sperm then goes on to be ovulated, and the sperm fertilizes it. Then you end up with somebody with one regular chromosome 5, but one chromosome 5 that has a bit missing. Should be more up here. And this condition is pretty severe. It causes a bunch of developmental issues. The reason it's called cri du chat is that it affects vocal cord development. And when these children are infants, when they cry, it sounds like the mewing of a kitten. And that's where the name comes from. They also have very flat faces and a flat, broad nose. They have a protruding tongue. Their ears are kind of low placed on their heads. They do have a shortened lifespan, but I think the treatment for this is getting sort of better and people are understanding it more, so they're living longer. But that's cri du chat caused by a chromosomal deletion.